Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Predator X. In 2009, the media went wild over the discovery of a ferocious prehistoric beast with 4 times the bite power of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Dubbed Predator X, the large-headed aquatic hunter is from an extinct group of marine reptiles known as pliosaurs. Fossils of 2 specimens that were discovered in Svalbard, Norway, indicated that Predator X may have measured up to 40 feet long. It had a 6.5-foot long skull, which explains why scientists believe that it had such an immensely strong bite. This head was larger than most people. I mean, how tall are you? But it wasn't until 2012 that scientists formally named and described the creature, called Pliosaurus funke. Predator X lived throughout the world's oceans around 150 million years ago during the Jurassic era. Truthfully, it's difficult to say exactly how big the species was, because experts only have partial skeletons to work from when it comes to calculating its size. With such limited evidence to base their calculations on, researchers are also unable to estimate the animal's bite force with any certainty. One thing that is clear is P. funke's ferociousness. In the words of study co-author Patrick Druckenmiller, they were the top predators of the sea. They had teeth that would make a T-Rex whimper. Predator X shared the ocean with other ancient giants, including other pliosaurs, which were characterized by their short necks, pear-shaped bodies, massive heads, and 4 flippers. Number 9. Thalattoarchon. Thalattoarchon was a type of marine reptile known as an ichthyosaur. It lived around 245 million years ago during the Middle Triassic period. The type species of this creature's genus was discovered in Nevada in 1997, but Thalattoarchon itself wasn't described until 2013. We've been learning a lot about prehistoric creatures recently. They existed at the beginning of a lengthy era dominated by large aquatic predators. Most ichthyosaurs had simple conical teeth, but Thalattoarchon had double-edged, blade-like teeth. Its largest tooth measured around 4 inches long. This species also had large eyes set into a large head, which was roughly twice as big in ratio to its body size as the heads of other ichthyosaurs. Thalattoarchon's formidable size and terrifying teeth ranked it as an apex predator among other ichthyosaurs at a time when land-dwelling reptiles were migrating to the sea in large numbers. Unlike some of these creatures, it was especially well suited to marine life after having emerged into existence just 5 million years after the world's worst-known mass extinction, known as the End Permian event. Scientists point toward its adaptability as a sign that aquatic life rebounded impressively quickly after the event compared to their land-living cousins. Number 8. The Tully Monster. 300 million years ago, parts of North America were covered by a shallow inland sea. At the time, the Mason Creek area of what is now Illinois was home to numerous soft-bodied animals. One of the most bizarre prehistoric discoveries scientists have made there is the Tully Monster. At first glance, it resembles a slug, but where you would expect its mouth to be, it had a long, thin appendage with what looked like grasping claws. Its eyes were located at the end of stalks protruding from its body. The creature is downright strange, and for decades since its discovery, scientists have been trying to determine exactly what it was. They can't seem to agree on whether it was a vertebrate, meaning it had a backbone, or an invertebrate, meaning it had no spine. Researchers claim to finally solve the mystery in 2016. They argued that the Tully Monster was a vertebrate because its eyes have more in common with animals that have backbones. The team concluded that the creature was a jawless fish distantly related to modern-day lampreys. On the other hand, another group of experts identified several invertebrates that also have the eye features that the other scientists used for classifying the creature, calling into question the accuracy of their findings. It seems as though the more people look into it, the more confusing it gets, leaving them with more questions than answers. Number 7. Liopleurodon. The extinct Liopleurodon marine reptile genus encompassed 2 species, both of which may very well qualify as some of the mightiest aquatic creatures of all time. These apex predators lived between 165 and 155 million years ago during the late Jurassic period in what is now France. At the time, sea levels were much higher than they are today, and the area was covered in a shallow body of water. The larger of the 2 species, Liopleurodon ferox, typically grew between 16 and 23 feet long, with the biggest known specimen likely measuring over 33 feet long. On average, the species' weight ranged between 2,200 and 3,700 pounds. It's difficult to definitively measure the creature's size, however, because scientists have only found limited fossilized remains. With 4 large, flipper-like limbs, these ambush predators were strong swimmers. They were capable of accelerating quickly, which was a major advantage when it came to pursuing prey. But these prehistoric sea monsters were not infallible. Liopleurodons and other pliosaurs ultimately lost their battle for survival against a newer, more adept and deadlier group of reptiles known as mosasaurs. Number 6. Coelacanth. Nicknamed living fossils, coelacanths are primitive-looking deep-sea fish that, until relatively recently, scientists thought were extinct. Everyone assumed they disappeared along with the dinosaurs around 65 million years ago, but they learned otherwise in 1938 when a live specimen was found off the African coast. There are 2 known coelacanth species. Experts think that these ancient deep dwellers, which have been around for an estimated 400 million years, represent an early evolutionary stage of fish transitioning into land animals, according to National Geographic. Found at up to 2,300 feet below the waves, coelacanths are both slow-growing and slow-moving. They reach more than 6.5 feet long and weigh as much as 200 pounds. Scientists originally believed that coelacanths live somewhere between 20 and 60 years, but a recent study by French researchers found that they have a lifespan of up to 100 years. Females become mature during their late 50s, and pregnancies are thought to last for around 5 years. Males reach sexual maturity between 40 and 69 years old. The coelacanth's lengthy reproductive cycle unfortunately does not bode well for its future. These fish are extremely endangered. In fact, they're lucky they've held on for this long. After all, there's a reason experts believe that they were long extinct, and it's because they are so seldom seen. Their slow gestation cycle does little to revive the rapidly disappearing population. Sadly, this living fossil may not live for very much longer unless urgent conservation measures are taken. Why do you think these prehistoric fish live so long and take such a long time to reproduce? Let me know in the comments below. And now for number 5. But first, want to give a big shout out to Janelle Allison and Cora Blue. Thanks so much for watching and supporting this channel. Love you guys, and if you are new here, welcome. And be sure to subscribe to join the Origins Explained family. Number 5. Kronosaurus. The Kronosaurus genus encompassed some of the prehistoric world's largest pliosaurs, with most measuring 30 to 36 feet long and weighing between 7 and 10 tons. Members of this genus inhabited early Cretaceous waters between 120 and 100 million years ago. There were 2 known Kronosaurus species. One was found in what are now New South Wales and Queensland, Australia. The other was discovered in modern-day Colombia. Scientists think that Kronosaurus may have had a worldwide presence, and that its fossils simply haven't been discovered on other continents yet. Kronosaurus was one of the deadliest marine reptiles that ever existed. It was closely related to the Liopleurodon. The 2 bore striking similarities despite living some 40 million years apart. Like its earlier relative, Kronosaurus had deceptively sharp-looking teeth. In reality, the animal's ferocity came from its powerful bite, which enabled it to shake and crush its prey to death in its mouth. Its fast-swimming speed was also an advantage. Kronosaurus fed on fellow marine reptiles, as evidenced by its bite marks, which were found in the fossils of other aquatic creatures of the time. Pliosaurs were eventually weakened by the evolution of creatures that were better suited to survive in a marine habitat, including sharks and a family of reptiles known as mosasaurs. By the time the dinosaurs were wiped out in the mass extinction event, pliosaurs were already virtually gone from the planet. Number 4. David Attenborough Horseshoe Crab. There are only 4 known modern horseshoe crab species, but if you rewind a few 100 million years, you'd find a vast array of horseshoe crabs that came in all different shapes and sizes. A study from last year describes one such species. Dubbed Attenborough Superspinosus, it's named after the popular nature documentary host and conservationist Sir David Attenborough. It was one of many distinctly bizarre horseshoe crabs that lived between 250 and 200 million years ago, known as Australimulids. A. Superspinosus lived in marginal environments along the border between land and sea, as well as in freshwater habitats, unlike today's horseshoe crabs, which live almost exclusively in marine settings. Discovered in 2018 and 2019 during research trips to Russia's Ural Mountains, this bottom-dwelling species probably ate whatever it could. Scientists are unsure why australimulids went extinct, but they suspect that it had something to do with their proximity to freshwater environments, where they were less equipped to survive than the creatures they shared their habitats with. Two of the remaining horseshoe crab species are considered endangered. Like their ancestors, they too could soon be wiped off the planet. Unlike their ancestors, they are likely to go extinct due largely to the effects of human activity. The recently described fossil represents just one of a dozen species that are named after Sir David Attenborough, including a marsupial lion, a dragonfly, and a flower, just to name a few. Number 3. Mosasaurus. Mosasaurus is the type genus of an extinct group of aquatic reptiles called mosasaurs. They lived alongside the dinosaurs between 82 million and 66 million years ago, ruling the waters of what are now Europe and North America during the late Cretaceous. Their fossils often appear inland, where shallow seas existed during warm periods marked by higher sea levels than we see today. For example, a body of water known as the Interior Great Sea once covered a large portion of the modern-day American Midwest. These unforgiving marine monsters drove at least one reptile group, the Ichthyosaurs, to extinction. Mosasaurs outcompeted these aquatic predators for food and may have also had a role in eradicating other creatures. The largest mosasaur was the 60-foot-long, 15-ton Mosasaurus. It had a ferocious set of teeth that were ideal for shredding prey like fish, birds, and other marine reptiles. A second inner set of teeth acted as a safeguard to stop prey from escaping in the moments before they were devoured. Resembling a crocodile with fins, Mosasaurus was a top predator of its day. But like all the prehistoric monsters that came before them, mosasaurs were not immune to competition from more evolved creatures. If they hadn't been wiped out during the extinction event that killed all the dinosaurs, they may have even been eradicated by vicious ancient sharks, who were faster and smarter. Number 2. Basilosaurus. The Tethys Sea was a tropical body of saltwater that existed from around 252 million years ago until roughly 66 million years ago. It was situated between the ancient supercontinents Gondwana and Laurasia. The early whale genus Basilosaurus lived here and throughout other water bodies of the prehistoric world. These primitive marine mammals were top predators of their environments. There are 2 known Basilosaurus species. Fossils of one were discovered along the Gulf Coast and in the eastern United States. Evidence of the other species was found in North Africa, including Jordan, Egypt, Morocco, and Tunisia, and possibly in Antarctica. Measuring up to 60 feet long, Basilosaurus may have been the biggest creature of its time period. It had a 3-foot-long skull with a bite force comparable to a T-Rex. A study of the ancient whale's stomach contents revealed that it was, indeed, a formidable force in its habitat, feasting on fish and sharks measuring up to 20 feet long. Bite marks on the skull fossils of smaller whales bear evidence that Basilosaurus also preyed on other cetaceans. Basilosaurus likely went extinct around 34 million years ago during the Eocene-Oligocene extinction event. It was small compared to some of history's other extinction events, but it wiped out many marine creatures, including the group of reptiles that includes the Basilosaurus. Number 1. Terrifying Triassic predator. Scientists believe that the largest creatures to ever exist were marine species. A recent study found that one of the biggest among these animals was an ocean-dwelling monster of the Triassic period. Formerly named Cymbospondylus Youngorum, it lived around 244 million years ago. It looked similar to a modern whale, but with a 6.5-foot skull, it rivaled many of today's biggest cetaceans. The creature came into existence just 8 million years after the first Ichthyosaurs, but based on its size, researchers think that its evolution was somehow expedited. In other words, it evolved incredibly fast for some reason. A recent study examined a fossil discovered in Nevada, where a shallow inland sea once existed. C. youngorum was the largest known tetrapod, or 4-legged creature of the Triassic. It was also the first in a long line of sea-ruling giants that succeeded it. The species grew quickly thanks to its diet of ammonoids, which were small yet abundant. These findings are a small step toward completing the very confusing picture of marine mammal evolution. It's thought that C. youngorum came long before the first whales, but that it was possibly an early ancestor. the creature's fossil may open a new door into our understanding of the connections between ichthyosaurs and whales. This is just one of several ancient creatures that have been discovered and described in recent years that are giving a more complete picture of the prehistoric world. Thanks for watching! What's your favorite prehistoric creature? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for more videos like these. See you soon! Bye!